What's up guys, in this video we're going to review the Wheeltop EDS OX 2.0 brand new rear derailleur that's just been released.
Down here at the bottom of the hill, I'll shift gears on this turn and just kind of cranks. You see it shifts so smooth.
Let's open it up and let's see what it looks like. So the box comes out there, this is just a cover. Very nice. Open this up. Alright, that's cool looking. Very fancy. Alright, they also have the little quality check here, logo there, letting you know that everything's up to par. Alright, got this too, saying congratulations, you now have the EDS OX, Smart Wireless Electronic Transmission for the future. Obviously you have the QR code, and so you can download the apps there as well. So very cool, they added that. This here looks very similar to the previous setup there. You got the charging cable. This is going to be a magnetic charging cable that you just connect to the actual rear derailleur. We've got our shifter buttons here. This is just like the previous version. Look at that, it's already paired. Pretty awesome. All right, there it is. It's got a nice little protective cover here. Let's pull that off. That's a nice little finish there they have on the top. I love how it has the OX logos right there. It's definitely longer than the previous models, and I'll pull up the previous model here in a second so you can do the comparison. And then as far as the charging port on it, it is a little more difficult. The previous one was on the back. This one is right in here, so if you have your chain installed, you know, and your cage is down, it's going to be fairly easy to get to. So there's your charging port right there with the little rubber cover. Just push it on, goes on nicely there. You also have your QR code for your serial number. Very nice as well right there. This says please charge and wake up before use. So, and this looks good, looks very good. So you see here, once again, has the same buttons as the previous models. It sounds a little different. It has like a little more of a chirp, almost like that SRAM chirp, but it's definitely not as loud as that SRAM chirp. The SRAM chirp is can be a little annoying. Okay, so now we have all three of the derailleurs that they came out for mountain biking. These are all the OX models, OX. So you have the original here with the removable battery. This is the EDS OX EO. Then you have the EDS OX YQ, which essentially is the same as the EQ, but they basically made it have an integrated battery located right there. And then now you have the newest one, which is the EDS OX 2.0. As far as the shifting speed, I don't have the shifter for this one right now. It's on the bike actually. Speeds seem very similar. So pretty impressive. One of the best things about the Wheeltop system is obviously you can run anywhere from 3 to 14 speeds on a cassette, so you can really pair this thing with anything, and it's future-proof. So whatever SRAM or Shimano comes out with, 13 speed, 14 speed, this will work with that system, okay? Now this right here I have paired with a SRAM transmission rear cassette, and just as a heads up, to run it with the transmission cassette, you do have to have a UDH compatible frame. You also have to modify the rear hanger. So this may be a little more than what you want to do, but I will go through and show you how I actually got it to set up and work with the transmission rear cassette. The shifter up top uses a standard CR2032 button size battery, so very easy to find those at any store. It does have a light system on here, so if you are starting to see a yellow or red light on the rear derailleur, the yellow light means that you're about to run out of battery. Red light means you're very low, you need to charge it. With the shifter up at the top, it does just have a red light, so if you hit a red light, you see that, you need to change out your CR2032 battery. What I want to know is what's the difference between this one, the 2.0, and the previous 1.0 version? The main thing, first off, it looks better. It has much better cosmetics to it. Looks more like a refined finished product. The previous product looked like it's a bit of a prototype. The components of it are also better protected. The limit screw is actually located behind this cover here. Also, the clutch mechanism is behind this cover, so that protects it from the elements as well. It also has a better design here, so if you do hit stuff, it does kind of move it away from the derailleur. So the way it is set up, it's better protected from the elements. Also, the charging port is on the back side here, less likely to have mud and other things get into it as well. So it's just a better designed rear derailleur. Also, it does have a more secure wireless connection from the shifter to the rear derailleur, so you're less likely to have any kind of interruptions from outside frequencies. So that's a good thing. Also, I found that this connects with the phone a little bit better than the previous 1.0 version. More secure connection, so you can actually go through it and it doesn't disconnect from the phone when you're using the app. So I have found that the connection is much better. Now, the two things that I really like the most about this rear derailleur compared to the previous one is it has a competitive mode or race mode. So in the app, you can actually change it to race mode where it shifts really fast. And obviously you're going to burn up some battery life when you do that. But if you're doing an event that you really want to have the best performance you can have, you can actually switch to race mode, use that for your race. And then if you're on longer rides and you're just out cruising around, you can put it in non-competitive mode, which saves a lot of battery. But race mode, it hasn't been horrible. It went from 100% down to about 75%. That was after about, I would say, like 4 rides, something like that. So battery life still in race mode is good. You just have to stay on top of your battery. The second thing I really like about this new system is it connects to your head unit now. So you actually can see your battery life, you can see what gear you're in, and here's me connecting it just on the side of the trail right before a ride.
To my Garmin, this is the 530. So it's not the newest one, but there it is, shifting. Sweet. Click it, add sensor. I just found. So now I'll go through the gears there and actually we'll show what gear I'm in. There we go. That's pretty sweet.
Now, setup is pretty basic, but there are some steps you have to go through. And when you first open the box, it actually comes already paired, but you do have to connect the charger to the rear derailleur to wake it up and also charge it fully before you start using it. I'm going to reserve the setting up part of the video to the very end, so that way if you want to check that out, you can hang out later and watch that. But I want to go ahead and jump into the performance of it, how it actually works and everything. As far as the shifter ergonomics, I've shared this before in the previous video on the 1.0. The shifting ergonomics is phenomenal. I love it. It works really good. I find it better than the pod of SRAM. I find that this is better than the Ultimate Pod. Big reason why, you can see they both have different textured surfaces, so you can kind of feel which one's which. But the best part is the upper button is actually set back just a little bit, and this one comes up a little bit. So you can feel as you're riding which button you're on. So it has a nice click to it. So when you push it, there's a nice click, and you do have to push it in a decent ways for it to actually activate, so you're not having that automatic shifting when you don't want to shift. You see, I've set this up with the SRAM Transmission Cassette, which you really could not do before, and the reason why is because the SRAM Transmission Cassette is set outboard 2.5 millimeters. So if you have a regular frame that's not UDH compatible, what's going to happen is that 10 tooth is going to slam into the side of your dropout, and your cassette won't even spin. You can see here the 10 tooth is lined up right here, and you can see that this is the UDH hanger. Now this one has been modified. This is the regular UDH hanger here. The problem with the regular UDH hanger is if I had it right here, this plastic piece here would hit the 10 tooth and the cassette would not move freely. Okay, that's a problem. So what I had to do was I took the hanger, and on this side I machined it down about 2 millimeter on this side to give room for that 10 tooth, but still have it where there's a lip here. And then the problem now is your rear derailleur is set too far this way, so it won't actually get down to this 10 tooth. I used a little spacer here. This is actually a spacer off of a chainring bolt, and so I used this spacer, put it, you can actually see it right now, it's kind of silver back behind there, and so I essentially put that right here, and what that does is it pushes the rear derailleur outboard about 4 millimeter, so that way that upper pulley will actually get down to this 10 tooth. All right, now this is my only concern about this, is that there's not as many teeth engaged in that thread there, so that's why I'm actually getting one of these made where this piece will sit out. Obviously want to make it clear that you only have to do this with a transmission cassette, okay, because they're designed to be outboard 2.5 millimeter. Any other kind of cassette like the Shimano or the SRAM Eagle, you don't have to do any of this stuff. This is just me tinkering. So don't feel like you have to do this with any kind of cassette out there. This is only if you're trying to get the transmission to work. Now, what is really exciting about this too, though, is because of this, now I can put the new Explorer 13-speed cassette on there. But either way, you do have to have the UDH frame to run these cassettes. Even if you're not using the transmission, derailleurs, using Wheeltop, you have to use the UDH to make room right here, because normal frames, the dropouts will sit too far inboard and they will actually hit that 10 tooth. Let's go ahead and shift through the gears. now we're down to the 10 tooth. Go back through the system or through the gears, and we'll slow it down a little bit. There we go. Very nice. And what I found too is now right now it's in competitive mode, so it's in the faster shifting mode. And you know, you can hold down the button and it'll shift through, like, you know, whatever preset gears you have. Right now it's 3 gears, so you hold it down, it shifts through 3 gears for you. I have found that I don't really use the hold down button on any electronic group, no matter what it is. What I do is usually I just press the button twice and it shifts fast, or I just press it as fast as I need to, and it goes to the gears pretty quickly. So that's me just dumping the cassette all the way down, hitting the buttons 12 times. So it is shifting a little faster than like the normal transmission when you're trying to just dump gears. As far as like the individual 1 gear shifts or 2 gear shifts, it's about the same as the transmission rear derailleur, but you know, the transmission rear derailleur will actually shift when you start dumping a bunch of gears at one time. It will shift a little slower because it's trying to basically allow the chain to engage the teeth. I know that online they say like SRAM has a mapping system on the rear derailleur that makes sure that it's hitting the right cog. That's just kind of marketing. You know, the mapping they're talking about is essentially the teeth and the ramps and how they're designed and how they're allowing the chain to jump onto the next cog. Okay, so the rear derailleur itself does not know like, oh, we have to wait before the chain gets here to be able to jump on there. It just slows it down enough where the pins, the ramps, allow the chain to jump over good enough. Okay, so with the aux, I have found it works flawless.
So I'm going to shift right now, put power down. And then we got this climb here. I'm going to shift his right here, going slow. You see it just shifted. Very easy, very smooth, even with full power down. Alright, so I'm going to shift through the gears as I'm putting power down here on this little straightaway, so you can kind of see or hear how it shifts. So I was shifting with about 500 to 700 watts there on that straightaway, and it was shifting super smooth.
Okay, so on the trails, it actually really reminded me of the transmission system. I have the XX1 transmission group set that I've used on this bike for a while, and that system works flawless. It works really well. You can mash on the gears as you're going through. With aux here, surprisingly, same setup, okay, same results. You can actually mash through the gears, you know, as hard as you want to, and it shifts flawlessly every time. So it's a really, really good setup. Now, my opinion, if I was going to use Wheeltop and I did not have a UDH frame, obviously go with the Shimano rear cassette and chain, the HG stuff. So you're talking XT, XTR. So now, if you have a UDH compatible frame, you know, would I go with the transmission over Shimano? It maybe engages a little bit better as far as putting power down than Shimano with this new transmission. But if you don't feel comfortable modifying that rear hanger, then definitely just stick with the Shimano stuff. I have used this with the previous generation 12-speed, you know, Eagle cassettes, and it worked well. I mean, it worked pretty good. And also the E13 cassettes, it worked well with them. They were just a bit clunky. So, which the older SRAM stuff was always a bit clunkier than obviously the new transmission. So if I was running this system, definitely go with the transmission if you have UDH, and Shimano if you do not. Obviously, this system is for somebody who likes tinkering with their bikes, you know, setting up with different cassettes. Maybe you want to future-proof your bike, so if something new comes out, you're obviously good with that. So it's not for everybody. It's not for people who, you know, want to just be given a bike and go ride it. If you like tinkering with bikes, this is your system for you. Out of all the Chinese brands, I will say they have the best product support. They do have a awesome service, so if you go on their website and everything, you can contact their service team. If you run into any issues with this, their warranty in the EU is 2 years on this system, and in non-EU countries, it is 1 year warranty. There's also a great Facebook group that you can join as well, so if you have any issues there, you can reach out to other cyclists. They can help you, and also the support team is always checking that as well. If you've enjoyed this video, be sure to smash that like button for me. Also subscribe to the channel. That helps me out tremendously. I will be having videos coming out soon where I will test this with a 13-speed cassette, a 14-speed cassette, and I even have a 15-speed cassette coming, which this is not rated for 15-speed yet. I'm going to talk to Wheeltop. Maybe they'll open it up for me. But anyway, so I do have some projects coming up that we're going to test this out and see if it actually works or not. So be sure to subscribe so you don't miss those videos, and we'll see you in the next one.